Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Mindful in Minutes podcast. And today we have a friend on the show. I'm so excited to have my friend Sam Williams. You've heard her voice before. And fun fact, Sam's guest meditation is like one of the top performing episodes on my podcast. Almost every year it is up there in the rankings. And so you know her, you love her. She is back to talk to us all about sound and sound healing, how you can weave sound into meditation. And she's actually the woman that taught me how to start weaving sound into what I was doing. So Sam is the founder of Her Peaceful Place, which is this beautiful kind of wellness healing studio in Chepstow. Sam's going to tell me in a moment how I pronounce it correctly, in Wales. And she is a sound healing therapist. She's a mentor, a yoga and meditation teacher, a medium, a tarot reader, a reiki practitioner. Basically, Sam does it all. And I am most proud of the fact that she is a Yoga for You alum. And I just love Sam so much. And she also, I will say, is my mom mentor, which anytime I have like a real mom problem, I'm like, I need to get Sam on the horn because I know that she will know what to say to me in that moment and be the most loving, supportive person in my mom's circle every single time. So welcome, Sam.
Hello. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to speak to you, Kelly. This is so exciting. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Chepstow is in South Wales. Chepstow in the Queen's English, or the King's English now, we say. Chepstow in South Wales. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And your space, I haven't been to it yet, but it's something that I want to. Every time I see you posting, Sam, I come up in my head with all these different reasons, almost like excuses, because sometimes I don't think my husband would be super into if I just like willy-nilly said, I just need to go to Wales because I need to see Sam and I want to hang out at Her Peaceful Place. And I start concocting all of these reasons to get to your area because I have seen you recently, recently-ish. You got to meet Pork Chop because we were doing some trainings in Bristol. But I never got to see your space, and it is like the most beautiful, lush-looking space, and I'm just dying to get there.
Thank you so much. My gosh, I would die if you came, Kelly. I would just be so excited if you were to come here. It's really lovely. And I'm here right now, kind of couched up in a corner with my speaker and my laptop. Couch is a Welsh word, by the way, for coziness. I remember years ago telling you about the word couch, actually. As you know, I have four children at home. So I can't be there speaking to you without interruptions. So, yeah, I am at Her Peaceful Place.
And you have to tell everyone, tell everyone how you spell couch for like couch up, because this blew my mind.
Oh, gosh, I believe it's CWTCH. It's a Welsh word.
Yes.
I am not Welsh, but I live in Wales. My husband is Welsh. My children are Welsh, and we use the word couch a lot. And it just means to hug, to really embrace each other, or to cozy up. It's a lovely word.
I love that word, and I actually still use it from time to time. I'll never forget the first time that we met in Bristol, not this most recent time, but this was years ago.
Yeah.
And I was doing some pop-up trainings, and you were there, and like, oh my gosh, so much from there. One, immediately I was like, Sam is so nice. She's so kind, so lovely. You taught me all of these fun words like couch. And also, what a natural you were, because you took, I believe, was it yoga nidra teacher training or restorative that time? I can't remember.
The first one was restorative. Then I went on, I think I went on to do meditation then, and then yoga nidra. I think I did nidra twice because I loved it so much. And I knew you were going to bring this up, so I was trying to think earlier how many years ago that was, and I actually can't remember. I just know it was pre-COVID, a couple of years before COVID, that I met you, and meeting you completely changed the way that I practiced yoga entirely. And actually, Kelly, I
Oh
think
my
it
gosh.
might be your fault that I'm here now, to be fair, because it was that journey. It was that journey into the softer, more gentle yoga practices, and then into meditation and the power of using your voice and where you can take someone with your voice that brought me to where I am now. So I kind of blame you anyway.
I will take that blame. And also, I think it's amazing that you're like just everything that you share. And I've loved being able to watch your kind of journey into all of this and really stepping into who you are. I want to say maybe it was 2018 when we met.
Was it?
Like, I remember I think it was like fall of 2018, maybe.
Okay.
And I just remember having a conversation with you and you talking about like kind of your vision or like what you wanted to do. And I remember you feeling really excited about restorative yoga. And I believe you were doing prenatal classes at the time, which I forgot to mention in the intro. Sam's also my prenatal yoga teacher throughout my whole pregnancy with pork chop. And then things were a little crazy with Poppy, but sometimes for Poppy too, I would join Sam's because you can. At the time, you could join it virtually. And so I was a part of her prenatal yoga class, and it was like the highlight of my week when
No,
I got to go and do that. And but you were doing prenatal classes, and you were
I was.
mentioning how it'd be so great to learn more about restorative yoga to help support your mamas and get different
Hmm.
alternatives and stuff. But I just remember talking to you about like your vision and like what you were excited about. And it's been really cool to get to see you like step into that vision in real time. And now you have
Yeah.
her peaceful place and you're doing so many amazing things,
Oh,
so many
thank
fun
you.
things. I was thinking about, I was like, well, of course I want to have Sam on for sound, but then also I feel like I want her to come on and maybe we could talk about tarot. Maybe we could, there's so many
Oh,
cool things that you're doing
that would be
that
amazing.
I want to talk to you about. But today we're going to be talking all about sound and
Yeah.
sound meditation. And when I wanted to start incorporating some singing bowls into my practice, you were the first person that I thought of. And I was like, Sam, can you help me understand how to do this? And you're just so knowledgeable and so good at what you do that I wanted to have you on to
Oh,
chat about it.
well, that's so kind of you. I'm
So,
so excited.
I am thrilled for this. Is there anything about, did I miss anything in the intro or just us chatting a little bit about the work that you do? Or is there anything you want people to know about you before we dive
No,
into the topic?
no, not at all. Not at all. No, that was just so lovely of you to say. It was a really nice introduction. So thank you.
Oh, well, it's all true. And I also meant to say, I'm sure people can tell this just from hearing you or if they've listened to your or your guest meditation before. But like every time you have such like a warm, nurturing voice. And like when I listen to your practices, I just feel like I'm getting this like nice little hug. And it's
Yeah.
the best thing ever. And Sam will be leading Sunday's meditation, which I'm personally thrilled for because every time I get a Sam meditation, it just like is the best. I love it.
So I didn't know that my last meditations did so well. I didn't know that. So that's really cool
Oh,
to hear. Really cool to hear.
it is very, yeah, it's really cool to hear. And I mean, people know a good one when they hear it, Sam. So they
Yeah.
want to keep revisiting it. And this is Mindful in Minutes, but over on Meditation Mama too, which you have contributed to in the past, I think 2 or 3 times. But those ones always do really well too. And I think it's because you just, again, have this really soft, nurturing space and like voice that you come from. But I also love how you set the scene and like if you do imagery, it's so clear, everything's really easy to follow, and I feel like it's just so easy to like drop into meditation, and you're also really thoughtful with the practices that you put together. I'll never forget something that you did for me which is so kind was when I think I messaged you while I was in labor with pork chop, which was like it was the classic, like almost a multi-day, experience. It was not quick. I was in the hospital just, hanging out. And I think I just messaged you being like, oh, because we've been talking about through the prenatal classes, like how far along are you? And like, you chat about these types of things. And so you knew kind of what I was hoping for in terms of like my birth. And I went late with both of my kids. And so you were with me as I was kind of on this like, okay. And then it was 40 weeks. And then it was, just kept going. And then, and then I was about a week late. And then I had an induction on the calendar. And I messaged you being like, it's finally happening. I'm at the hospital. I'm having my baby. And you just like whipped up this meditation for me and sent it to me. And
No,
to like help support me in that moment. And I listened to it while I was like in labor, and it felt so comforting to me to like, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, because something about having your voice and also like having a friend with me during that time was so special, because especially your first time giving birth. I remember you telling me, you're like, oh, by the fourth one, it was really nothing. And it was so nice to have like a comforting, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what to expect. And Pork
no,
Chop's birth didn't quite go as planned versus Poppy. I don't know if I think I told you this, right?
you
Poppy,
did.
it was like, so, oh my gosh. Like I remember at like 10:30 p.m. texting my husband being like, oh, I think labor's happening, because I was late with her too, almost a week. They're actually both born 40 weeks and 5 days, both my kids. That's apparently my
Oh,
day.
wow. Okay.
And yeah, it's not wild. But anyways, we're not here to talk about my birth story. But anyways, Poppy, just at like 10:30 p.m., I was like, oh, I think labor's starting. And it happened. So I was holding her by 7 a.m. The whole
Wow.
thing, I think things are starting to, I'm holding the baby, was less than 9 hours from
Wow.
start
That's
to
so,
finish,
so
versus Pork Chop
different.
was like days.
Yeah,
So different.
I remember your first birth so clearly. I remember standing in the kitchen and just trying to tune into you and send you all of my love and all of my strength and all of my energy. I'm like, come on, Kelly, you can do it. You can do it, girl. And yeah, I just remember checking my phone
That gave
all
me,
day, waiting for the notification. And I knew that you were really going through it. Love you. So to hear that he had arrived and that you're all so well was just incredible. It was such lovely news. And I felt like
that just gave me
I was
goosebumps.
close to you, even though we're so far apart. It was a really awesome day. No.
Mm. Well, I appreciate that. And I just couldn't believe that you had put together that practice, and something that I think is really beautiful. And one of the many things I appreciate about having you as a friend, like I said, not only there as like my mommy mentor, but I think that you're so thoughtful and intentional in what you do. And like I could feel your energy there with me. And it was special. So I am thrilled to get to not only share one of your practices, but to get to chat with you, because I know everyone knows what beautiful meditations you put together, but not everyone has had the opportunity to hear how knowledgeable you are and everything that you know about sound. So I thought we could start, since it's kind of like Sound 101.
Okay.
Why don't we just start with what inspired you to get into sound healing?
Okay. So my journey into sound began with learning all about meditation and, in fact, nidra, and the importance of words and how deep words can take you into meditation. So it kind of began there. Then we went into lockdown, of course, in 2019, 2020. And my journey into sound really began to evolve then. The door was opened properly then. I have always been a very spiritual person. I've always felt very psychic, if you like, or very connected to things that we cannot see. And I needed something to help me tune or harness what was going on around me that I couldn't quite reach. And delving into sound took me there. It was kind of the portal into my spiritual journey. Yeah, and it's just been like an itch or a plaster that I've taken off, and now I just can't stop going. Just keep learning and evolving and growing and sharing too, which is really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so cool. And And is there anything like, did you have a sound bath? I know that like you learned from Charlie,
I
but did
did.
you like have a sound bath experience and you were like, oh my gosh, that resonated with me? Is it something that was just kind of on your radar and so you wanted to learn more? Like, what was that first initial like entrance into it like?
So my first entrance into it was actually coming across Charlie, my teacher and mentor, Charlie at Time with Charlie on Instagram. And I messaged her and started up a bit of a conversation with her. I saw this picture of her just holding these beautiful bowls, and I was just like, wait, what is that? You know, I didn't quite know what she did with them or how she would change my world, really, if you like, with these bowls. But I knew that I had to meet her. And she was in Bristol, just like you. So I went and did her trainings during the lockdown. So there was, you know, lots of complications around all of the restrictions that we had. And in fact, one of our trainings were cancelled and just kept being put back month by month. But meeting Charlie and being introduced into this deep world of sound and energy healing was just awesome. Awesome. And it was off the back of that I then opened up her peaceful place in Chepstow, as I needed somewhere that I could share sound and energy with people. And you know, Kelly, as yoga teachers, we're always humping around these huge big bags of mats and bolsters and blocks. And I just couldn't do that with Tibetan bowls and crystal bowls and gongs and chimes, and it's all just so heavy. And I felt like it was time to open up my own space, and I've been here ever since. So, yeah. So it's really, I really kind of have extreme gratitude for you and your meditation trainings and Charlie and her sound trainings that led me to here, to where I am, to her peaceful place. So, yeah.
Someone once told me that all you have to do if you need a teacher or a guide or someone and you're not sure even what you need is that you just have to ask for help.
Yeah.
And whether that is like, you know, asking someone, you know, you could DM someone on Instagram and be like, hey, I have this question, or, you know, it can be actually asking someone, or you can just ask the universe
Yeah.
and say, you know, can you send me the person that I need? Because I've had times too where it's like the right people just show up
Uh-huh.
when I need them. It's like our
Truly.
paths cross at the right time.
Yeah.
Truly. And I recently shared this on the podcast, but I don't think I told you this,
Okay.
Sam, but we were chatting a little bit off mic because we always have to get, you know, caught up about kids and all of that. And I had kind of employed this, and I was looking for someone that I needed a specific profession. I was just looking for something like specifically to help, you know, support pork chop in this one area. And I was like, okay, I need a, you know, specific thing. I, you know, for privacy reasons to, you know, not to, you know, to keep pork chop's business to himself. Anyways, for our family, I needed this like one specific profession, and I kind of been Googling, and I was like, I don't know where to find someone who does this. And I just kind of said, okay, universe, like I need some help. I'm stuck here. What do I do? And I kid you not, Sam, I was taking the kids to just like this thing, we call it the owl place. It's like this nature center that has like different owls. And there was a mom there, and we were just chatting because her youngest and Poppy were around the same age. And for some reason, she asked me, she said, oh, are you a small business owner? And I said, oh, yeah, I am. And I told her about what I did. And I said, are you a small business owner? She said, I am. And she listed the exact thing that I was looking for,
Oh my goodness.
like the exact profession. And
I
she said
love that.
that she did it for kids, for
Wow.
under 6-year-olds. And I was like,
Wow.
are you for like, and so I've really been thinking about it lately too. But I think sometimes when we're looking for teachers, or if we're looking for, maybe we're on a journey, we want to learn more about something, even if it's just how can I heal, or how can I, you know, connect, or whatever you're going through. If you feel like you need help from someone, you can just ask. And it seems like the right people will fall into your lap. Like, have you had that experience too?
Oh my goodness, I live my entire life with this belief, Kelly. I truly do. Nothing is a coincidence. for the past 2 years, I have been working with two really beautiful women who are psychic mediums, and they kind of landed in my life. Just as you said, I kind of put it out there that I needed some spiritual mentors and people who could help me to learn and understand how to connect with the spiritual realms. And these two women literally turned up in my life and became these gorgeous mentors that have helped me develop and grow in such a way that I will always be thankful to them. And they say to me, if you need it, ask spirit, send it up there, ask your guides, be detailed with what you need, and trust once you've given it to them that it will arrive. And it always does, always. Even when I'm driving my car and I need a parking space somewhere really busy, and I'll say on the way, okay, team, I really need some help parking my car today. And there will be the spot that I need, even teeny tiny small things like show me a sign. Before I came onto this chat with you, I took a few moments to prepare myself and connect with my spiritual team. And I asked them to help me because I was full of nervous excitement. And I asked them to sit beside me, make sure I don't say anything like an absolute twat. And to really just be my best self here. And hopefully they will help guide me. But I live my entire life with that belief system. Ask and you will receive, for sure.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, I know October is a season where we wear masks and costumes and we can just pretend and play and be whoever we want. But I also think that many of us feel like we're wearing a mask. This is going to get dark, but we're wearing a mask to hide ourselves and hide our true selves, whether it's at work or social settings or with our family. And this is something that can be so tough because if you're not able to show up as your true self, it's really hard to feel like harmonious and aligned and happy. And something that I personally worked through in therapy was why I was showing up as a different person in different places. And I found it was because I was personally lacking self-confidence and I didn't know myself well. So it was hard for me to show up as who I am. And I think therapy is so great because it can help you learn to accept all the parts of yourself. And the more you get to know yourself, then the easier it is to show up as that person. And I really took that journey via therapy. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch anytime for no additional charge. So take off the mask with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/minutes today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/minutes. This show is also sponsored by Truvaga. Now, you've heard me talk about Truvaga before. It is the handheld vagus nerve stimulating device, and I have been loving my Truvaga device. I've been using it for a couple minutes in the morning and at night. It's super quick and easy. It's a nice little self-care routine that I have, and I feel like I instantly feel calmer. But I've also been noticing I have a little more mental clarity, and we all know how amazing the vagus nerve is and how important it is to stimulate the vagus nerve. It helps to connect the mind and the body, and I just think it's amazing and that we all need to give Truvaga Plus a try. You just turn it on, you do about 2 minutes of kind of this like buzzing, vibrating that you can put right on your neck to stimulate the vagus nerve, and it's incredible. I just love it. It's become a part of my daily routine. So visit truvaga.com/mindful-in-minutes for $15 off your order. That's truvaga.com/mindful-in-minutes to enhance your wellness journey and get $15 off your Truvaga or Truvaga Plus device. That's truvaga.com/mindful-in-minutes. I love that so much. And also, I don't think you could anytime I've ever spoken to you, Sam, it's always been like the most inspiring, loving, nurturing conversation. And so I don't think you have anything to be nervous about at all. And someone also told me once that you can do the same thing like this. I think about this a lot because, my kids are still so little, like Pork Chop is talking, but he's 3.
Yeah.
So it's like, how much of a conversation are you really having? 3-year-old, and Poppy's obviously just little.
Yeah.
But you can ask kind of your guides
Hmm.
to talk to like their guides. And
Yes.
this is something I've been doing too that I find to be so sweet. Or I can ask, and like when Pork Chop goes off to preschool, and sometimes I'll just say, okay, Pork Chop's team or Pork Chop's guide. And I always say, walk with him. Can you walk with him today? Like, can you walk with him? Can you help him through? Because it's hard as a mom to send your kids off to do things. This is his first big real step into, the real world. And I'll just say, okay, Pork Chop's team, like, walk with him. Can you walk with him today?
Oh
And I feel
my
like they do. And
God,
it feels really comforting.
that is so beautiful. I have heard that as well, but completely forgot it. So I am so happy that you've just mentioned that. I will so be doing that with my children. That's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Can you walk with him today? That's beautiful. I love.
I don't know. It just came with me. I remember there was I was going to drop him off at like his first day of preschool. And of course I had these nerves and classic COVID baby, like,
Yeah.
he hadn't done a lot of other things. And I don't know, it just popped into my head that it was like, I can ask his team to walk with him. And I don't know when it just stuck. So anyways, but
No.
okay, back to sound, because you and
Okay.
I could talk about everything. I'm also putting on the list.
I
People,
know.
let me know if you want this. But should we have Sam back and talk about this whole like psychic situation?
Oh my
Because
goodness. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really into that. So maybe next time we will revisit
Okay.
that, because I want to pick your brain about that as well.
Okay.
Okay, sound healing, sound therapy. Also, we're going to talk about some of the other like sound offerings that you have, because you do so much with sound. But starting with just the basics, like what is sound healing in your words? Like, what's your definition?
Okay. So sound healing, in the most simplest form, sound healing is unorganized music, if you like. I deeply love music. I have always loved music of so many different types, and it has moved me so much. So, sound healing is unorganized music, if you like, that. Well, if you think for centuries and centuries now, so many different cultures and peoples have used sound for so many different things, for rituals and ceremonies and for healing purposes. So it's all about meeting a person where they're truly at, without any expectation or judgment, and holding them in sound. So using different healing instruments with beautiful, loving, kind intention to help that person to heal themselves. So I am not a healer. I do not claim to be a healer, but I hold space for people with sound to help them heal themselves.
And what does that look like? Like, what kind of things do people come to? I know you do group sessions and you
Yeah.
also do like one-to-one. What types of things do people come to you for when they're like wanting to dabble in sound for the first time?
Oh gosh. Oh, there's a question. So many people have come to me with different things. Very often when they arrive, they might tell me that they've come for some time where they need some calm or some clarity, or maybe they have a really painful shoulder that they want to, get some ease of. But very often what people come with isn't what they came for at all. And it's only when I work with them with the bowls, that then something else comes to the surface. So sound really allows us to get quite deep. It helps us to get deep on a spiritual and a physical level. So there are different ways in which I use sound. There's sound therapy, there's sound massage, and there's sound healing meditation. And they're the three main ways that I work with sound.
Okay. And tell me about them all. Let's start with sound healing. Then I want to hear about the sound massage. And I would love to hear what you do with sound meditation, because I know how I utilize it, but I think we do it differently.
Do we? Okay.
Well, I don't know.
I'm
Maybe we'll
interested.
compare
Do we?
notes and see.
I'm so interested in
I
that,
don't know.
Kelly.
Okay, well, let's start there then. So tell me about, how do you do like sound meditation? What is that like? And then I'll tell you what I do.
Okay, so I call it a sound healing meditation. You probably see all over social media that people very often call it a sound bath, and I don't call it a sound bath, only because people find that confusing, I find, and it takes away a little bit of the depth of the meaning. So I call it a sound healing meditation because it can be so deeply healing, but also meditation helps people to understand that it will be a period of time where they will be focusing on sound, that single focused attention that, of course, you taught me with sound. Um, so sound therapy would be when people come to see me, and I would use Tibetan bowls around their bodies to
And that's like metal ones, right?
yes, Tibetan ones are metal bowls. They're really beautiful. They come in different shapes and sizes. They're mostly made of 8 metals. And during a therapy session, I would use those bowls around someone's body to really help to connect with their chakras, to connect with their energies and see what might be happening for them. I will be able to hear from the sounds and vibrations from the bowls and how they harmonize with each other, what will be going on for someone. Sound massage is when I will place the bowls on someone's physical body, on the front of their body, on the back of their body, and strike the bowls so that those vibrations and frequencies go really deep into the body, really, really deep. So you would experience what we call a sonic massage that way. That's really beautiful. And then the sound healing
That
meditation.
sounds amazing.
It is amazing. It's so beautiful. And the sound healing meditation is group work, which, we both facilitate and offer for people. And that's when you have different people arrive and you have their mat set out for them, and it's really cozy and lovely. And mostly you will be at one point of the room and you will stay there. I always begin with guided meditation and then into sound. Kind of different because you have all these different energies in the room that you will be connecting with. So it's not quite so deep. Well, no, that's not true. It is deep. It's deep for the participant. As the facilitator, it's not quite so deep and intensive because you're working with a group of people and not just one, if that makes sense.
Yes. And I refer to that as like, and you've heard me say this before, but as you stick to like the crowd pleasers in a way.
Yes.
Whenever I work with a group, I stick with the things that we as the collective could always use support in. So whether it's working with the nervous system or reducing stress or anxiety, improving your sleep, intuition, things that no one is going to be like, oh, I was so annoyed that, Kelly had us focus on reducing our stress today or connecting to our intuition. Like we as a collective are almost always happy with working with particular things like that. And I think where I do it a little bit differently. So I do usually call it a sound bath, although I love hearing your perspective on it. The reason I do that is because it's the way that I describe it. So when I usually do either nidra in sound or guided meditation in sound. And so I'll call it like guided meditation or yoga nidra with a sound bath to kind of differentiate between these two kind of, obviously similar and related things, but that there's kind of two different sections in the class. And I describe it as, you're being bathed in the sound waves, because I use pretty much just the big crystal singing bowls that like really, you can like feel those big vibrations.
Beautiful.
And I describe it as people as like, just let the sound wash over you. And so I usually call it a sound bath because I use this like water imagery anyways of like how you can really bathe and wash in it.
Yeah.
But what I was taught from the meditation space first is that a sound meditation like a traditional sound meditation with a singing bowl, any kind, whether it's the Tibetan bowl or the crystal bowl or any instrument really, is you use like a single strike of one of those bowls and you try to sit with the sound for as long as you possibly can. So
Yeah.
it's a way to increase your concentration or focus. So someone will sit there and they'll be like, bong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're sitting there and you try to stay with it for as
Mm.
long as you possibly can. And the thing that's really cool is it always carries so much longer than you think. Like if you're just casually listening to music,
Yeah.
you might hear it. But if you're focusing your entire, again, taking your mind light bulb, turning it into a laser pointer, pointing it at this one sound, and then you do that over and over and over. That's
Yeah.
how I was first introduced into sound meditation. But what you
Okay.
and I do is now very different from that, where we use like
Okay.
different instruments and lots of sound and like continual sound instead of just like bong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you wait a little bit, then another like
And then another
bong.
one.
But that was actually my first introduction was
Okay.
kind of that single point, like a single striking
Mm.
of a bowl. But what are some of the, like, since you play both, can you talk us through the differences between like those metal bowls that maybe we see on social media? I always see, other than obviously I follow you and you're always doing cool things with them, but I always see people like almost putting their like feet in the metal
Oh,
bowls and
yes.
then someone strikes it
Oh my gosh.
versus like you taught me another word,
Oh,
rimming.
rimming. That's the technical term. That is the
That
technical.
is, I remember you and I having a very good laugh because you're like, I don't know if this word is the same thing in America, but this is called rimming.
Yeah.
And we just had a good belly laugh over
Mm.
that. And that's where you take the big kind of crystal singing bowls, you're playing like
Yes.
around the rim of it and it really gets going.
Yeah.
But can you walk us through the difference between the two bowls?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I think just before I forget to say, I think it's really important when it comes to sound. And if you are thinking about entering into the world of sound healing, then go for what you're drawn to. And I remember from our conversations years ago when you were feeling pulled towards, the world of sound, that you were really drawn towards the crystal bowls. And that's where you needed to go. If you feel pulled towards either or whatever, gongs or chimes, then that's where you need to begin. I love the Tibetan bowls because they are made of usually 8 different metals and they are handmade in Tibet by a family-run business. So I order my bowls from My Mentor Charlie and they come direct from Tibet. So we know that the bowls that we have are made by a family in the mountains in Tibet. They're handmade, so they kind of have these little ridges and bumps all over them, but they're made with pure loving intentions, like whispered and sung into them. And some of them are actually made under the light of the full moon and a fire. That's all they use. So they can be made over 3 days of every month if the sky is clear. And they are just the most cosmic sounding, beautiful bowls. They take you somewhere else entirely. But what I love about the Tibetan bowls is that they're so versatile. So you can place them on people's bodies and that deep vibration can be felt throughout, every single cell. So they're beautiful and deep. And yes, you can put your feet in them. You can have them on your head. They're just lovely. Crystal bowls are equally as beautiful in the most opposite sense. So they are pure and clean. And I always think of them as being very angelic. And for me, they're a connection to everything that's higher, that, connection to the crown chakra, the third eye, to a higher consciousness. It is almost like you are transported to somewhere heavenly and angels step in when you hear those beautiful bowls. They are ghostly and enchanting. And I mostly work with Tibetan bowls, but when I offer group sound, I do have crystal bowls nearby as well. And I love to weave them in because it's almost like a cleansing of the space when you bring that angelic sound. It just takes it from that earthy resonance to that angelic resonance. And it's just a really beautiful connection between the two.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying all of that because I was always so curious since I don't really work with the Tibetan bowls as
Yeah.
much. But like as you were describing the crystal bowls, I'm like, yes, that is it. They are so
Oh,
angelic. They
they are.
are like I feel like it's just like angels coming in and like
Oh,
singing these little songs for us. But I also am so intrigued and I do love chimes too. I think those are my two favorites, the crystal
oh, I
singing bowls
love
and
chimes.
the chimes, because I also have that same, like, I get that same feeling of just like, it's like these little like angels or like little
Mm,
fairies coming in and, these little elementals just with their
yeah.
beautiful chimes. And so I love that. And I appreciate you explaining the difference between the two. And you know this about me, Sam. I love some good science. So can
Uh-huh.
you walk for the other science listeners and
Okay.
science lovers, walk me through like the science, like how does this actually work? Are there any like case studies or any kind of like proven benefits of what sound does either for your body or your mind or
So
all
there
of the above?
are so many proven benefits now. There is so much science behind the magicalness, if you like, of sound healing. It's I think that the simplest way to talk about the science is that if you think that everything in the entire universe is energy, we are made up of energy. The homes that we live in are energy, the trees are energy, the clouds are energy, everything is energy, and everything within our body is energy. So every single organ vibrates at a different rate to its neighbor. Our skin, our bones, everything vibrates at a different frequency. And when our bodies, our physical bodies, are met with that beautiful sound and frequency from the bowls, whether they're Tibetan or crystal bowls, whether it's that earthy sound or the angelic tones, then that's where magic really happens. If you also think about our bodies as being this still pool of water, our bodies are, I think it's 75% water. There's just this still body of water. Each time a bowl or a chime or something has been played, is struck or indeed rimmed, then it is like a pebble has been just skimmed across that still pool of water. And that ripple effect is our own energy and our bodies just coming back to that place of wellness and stillness and equilibrium. It's just lovely.
I love that water imagery
Me
because
too.
something that I talk about when I'm like introducing, if I'm doing a group practice and I'm like, okay, this is what you can expect, this is what it is. And I tell people that we know that sound penetrates our body in a profound but safe way. And I always liken it to like an ultrasound that you would get. And you can get ultrasounds obviously for anything, not just like pregnancy. And that uses sound waves to then be able to like
Uh-huh.
see that picture and for whatever reason I that resonates with me, but I know it resonates with others too, and they think about how we already like in the medical space use sound waves as a way to safely kind of penetrate the tissues of the body and be able to kind of see what's going on. And so of course doing something like sound that also uses sound waves can have such a profound effect on the body.
Absolutely. And not just the body, but the brain, our emotional body, our spiritual self. It just has such a profound impact on all of the systems of the body. And it's important, I think, to say that you don't have to be ill or out of sorts or off kilter to receive sound. You don't need to be unwell. If you're well and you receive sound, it will just help you to be balanced and to feel calm and hopefully content, I hope. But a myth
And
around sound, though, Kelly, also is that it's very relaxing, and sometimes it's not. I think that's one of the big myths around sound healing. It can, in fact, be really confronting and
okay,
challenging.
tell me
Um,
more about this. Let's unpack this because I get this question too, or people will come to my sound is usually pretty gentle.
yeah,
And, we do guided meditation first to kind of really sort of calm down the nervous system, kind of set the tone, if you will.
yeah,
But other people that have done sound baths, like what I consider kind of a true sound bath, like a lot of different instruments, or maybe a gong bath, things like that. I have heard this from other people that it wasn't necessarily relaxing to them. So
Yeah.
talk me through why this is and like what happens to people sometimes.
So when we're lying there and we're in that relaxed place and we've been guided down by the facilitator's voice with some meditation. So we're going from that beta brain wave state all the way down to theta, which is where we are truly relaxed. And that's where the healing happens. So if we're holding grief somewhere in the body, if we're holding pain, anxiety, anything that's really uncomfortable and perhaps painful, that can really come to the surface. Those ripples of movement of energy can bring things that maybe we bury down up and out. So that's why some people can find it really challenging. I myself have led there through sound healing meditations thinking, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can stay. Because it's brought up so much overwhelming anxiety for me that it's been a real challenge. I always like to say to people after a visible experience like that this is normal. This is not, you are not a weirdo, if you like. This is really normal to feel this way, to have this experience. I guess you've got to feel it to heal it, haven't you? It's moving through these things to heal. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. That's so true. You do have to feel it to heal it. And when I think about, again, sound, or you describe it as these ripples, when you get these vibrations, it kind of is, if there's anything that's like underneath the surface, again, thinking about like water, where I live, there's a lot of lakes, right? And so the lake
Yeah.
might look clear, but as you start to walk in, it kind of kicks up some of that like silt and debris, and it can make the water kind of cloudy. And that stuff we've shoved really deep down, that's down kind of at the bottom,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
can lift it, but it almost like lifts it to clear it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It can be
It's not like you just get like re-traumatized and then, you're just then in a worse state after sound. And with Nidra, sometimes too, people will say that they have some interesting experiences where they feel like they, kind of shake up some gunk, but then clear it at the same time. Is that what people tell you with sound?
100%. I liken it to the same thing. You're trying to achieve the same thing with Nidra and sound. You're guiding people into that brainwave state where they can meet themselves, if you like. Anything can happen. They could experience some inner child healing that needs to happen. They could even travel back to a past life. They could have that kind of experience, or even a future life, if you wish. Anything can happen in that space. And it's really important as facilitators that we hold them safely and really understand where they might have been. It's so individual for everyone. Truly, you just don't know what may happen.
And so if someone were to come to you and they say, okay, I'm going to make a little journey to her peaceful place. I'm going to see Sam. I'm going to do maybe like a 1-to-1 session. Can you just walk us through what that process looks like, from like they just walked into the door,
Sure.
then what happens?
Well, it kind of happens before they arrive, really. So I would prepare my room for them. If they've booked in for sound therapy, that will mostly always be on the floor. If they've booked in for sound massage, that's probably on the floor too. I do have a couch that I might get up, but I prepare the space by preparing myself, cleansing the room, some meditation, connecting to my guides, and setting an intention before that person arrives. Then when they come to me, I am ready for them, and I can hit the ground running. We'll have a consultation and kind of unpack why they might be there. And like I said earlier, very often they don't know why they might be there, or they've come with a different reason, and it will all become apparent as we work together. And then I'll get them comfortable, always guiding them in with my voice, always some present awareness, listening to the sounds, noticing how they feel, maybe a body scan and some gentle breath work, just to be fully present and prepared. It's a huge thing for someone to walk in, particularly if they haven't experienced it before. They're really placing their trust in my hands entirely, and I want them to feel so safe, because we don't know where they might journey to. And then we'll do some guided meditation, and I will be working with my guides. I'm not just delivering sound. I am working with their energy, their aura. I am connecting with my guides and receiving messages the whole time as to where I should be, what they need to feel, what they need to experience.
Wow,
Yeah.
that sounds lovely and delightful. And I was curious how you did that because I've never done like one-to-one sound. I always do groups, and I personally
Yeah.
love just like the group work. And so I was really
Mm.
curious how that works in your practice when you do one-to-one. And have you found, Sam, like we've been talking a lot about like the nervous system, just like on Mindful Minutes and like yoga for you and things like that. And I find so many people are interested in the nervous
Mm.
system right now, which makes
Yeah.
like me so happy because you and I are both like,
Yeah.
we want everyone to have the most regulated, like happy nervous systems, but that's not the case for most of us. But have you been finding more people are coming in to use sound? Because I know it's great for the nervous system. Have you been hearing this more yourself or not really?
Oh my gosh, 100%, 1,000,000%. I think that the world that we live in right now has pushed everyone into this place of anxiety, or kind of like living in this, I don't know, kind of hyper responsive state. And so many people are coming now that are just seeking some strength, some calm, some peace, and really want to explore a different way of regulating the nervous system. And I believe profoundly that sound does that. Even for people that come to me that are really skeptical, men mostly might be the most skeptical. Their wives might have booked them in or whatever. That's such a generalization, but very often men can come to me and be quite skeptical, and you can physically see it in their bodies when they drop into oh, okay, there's nothing else I can do right now but listen and be held and feel what I'm feeling. And it's really beautiful.
I did that for Ben, my husband,
Okay.
and acupuncture. He had never tried it. I love acupuncture.
Yes.
And he has a very high stress job. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes he has a hard time. I would love to get him into sound as well. But,
Mhm.
we're just going to start with like, acupuncture, which has a lot of really great, like peer reviewed clinical studies to, back it up for the doctor. But I just kind of made him an appointment to like go see my acupuncturist, and they did acupuncture and cupping, and like he loved it and found it
Oh,
to be
wow.
so helpful. So
I
I
love
am
it.
one of those women that just like book appointments for their
Yeah.
husbands and be like, you need
Yeah.
to do, because they often won't do it for themselves
No, they
like on
won't.
their own. Or I have wives that bring their husbands with them on retreats. And
Yeah.
so many times it's the husbands that like we're doing the closing circle and they're like in tears with like
Yeah.
what a moving experience that it was to have, even though they're like, I don't know, my wife just like drug me along to Iceland or wherever, and I didn't even know what to expect. I thought it'd be like a bunch of weird ladies.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and you know what? It is weird ladies in the great way. Like, all the
Absolutely.
fun, like, but I think we don't create a space for our men to feel
No,
comfortable to do
no.
this type of stuff. And so when they do have the space, it's like they can finally
Yeah.
experience it and kind of like let go in that way. And it's
Absolutely.
really beautiful and moving. But it's always the guys that get drug along by their wives that are like truly have like these life-changing experiences on
Absolutely.
retreats because they finally have a space
Yeah.
where they can open up and start dabbling in these things.
Yeah. And they're so brave and so trusting just to rock up and give it a go. They really are.
Yeah.
I'm finding that men are much more open to sound healing because there is science behind it and because it's tangible. They can feel it in their bodies. So I love it when men come to her peaceful place. Yeah, it's really beautiful to see.
That's cool. Do you ever have men ask if they're allowed there because it's called her peaceful place?
Yes, I do. I do. Um, I actually kind of called my business Her Peaceful Place before I got into sound, because I was mostly working with women in a prenatal, postnatal way. But actually the meaning behind it is because I have a very anxious and busy mind, and it really is about sharing those things that bring me peace and regulate my nervous system, soothe my soul, and whatnot. So it's really about me and what I do to help myself, and then how I share that with others. But everyone is so welcome. Everyone, whatever you identify as, is so welcome here.
Yes, and I can attest to that. And like, you're just so open and warm, and like all of your practices feel so like approachable in a way, and just really like welcoming. And
Oh,
but
thank
I
you.
only asked because we have a yoga studio in my area that is mostly for like, it's mostly a prenatal and kids studio,
Okay.
but they offer other services too. They do like, you know, massage. At one point they had like a chiropractor. They offer other things. And I remember my Ben was asking if I had booked him, like, because again, I am that woman that I'm just like, oh, I booked you a massage with, you know, Gretchen over at this
Oh,
place.
love.
And I remember the first time he kept asking, he kept being like, but am I allowed to go there? Because
Oh,
you know, it was started as, they offer all different types of yoga there, but
yeah.
where they started is in the prenatal space and the postpartum space. And he kept asking, I remember he called them to be like, but I'm a man. Is it
Oh,
okay? Like,
love
can I come get
him.
a massage here?
Oh,
I know, it
love
was
him.
very sweet. And so I was curious if you ever get that. And
I
it
have
sounds
had
like you do.
emails, I have had messages, absolutely. I just think it's so sad that men feel this way, that there's not enough for them. I'm hoping that we're starting to see a change in that, and that men
Mhm.
are feeling that they can access these amazing offerings without feeling like they might not be welcome. That's so sad. That's so sad.
It is, and it's something that I'm hoping is changing with time too. Like, it's something that I try to be mindful of, like with pork chop. And even though he's still so young, trying to introduce him to these things and like putting these tools in his toolbox. Like, anytime I get even, you know, the sound bowls out, he's so, of course he's curious. He also loves music and sound, and like he's curious about it. Even when he was
Yeah,
like a little baby and was barely walking, and I had just gotten my bowls, and you know, he was so excited about it. And you know, it's things that I want to kind of introduce to him when he's young and when he's a kid. And I don't want him to feel like wellness and self-care and like introspection, that these
absolutely.
are like things that people who identify as women do.
Hmm.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
want, I feel like at least a lot of the men that I mean, certainly I think about my dad, right? He's in his 70s. Tom, we know him, we love him. Tom certainly is not spending his time, you know, looking up where he can go get a sound massage because he heard it would be
No, of
great
course
for
not.
regulating his nervous system, because I just think that's just one, not on his radar. And
Yeah,
I just think he thinks that that's like not like a manly thing to do.
yeah,
Um, but I want to change that.
absolutely, absolutely. And sound is so accessible for everyone, everyone, every age, everyone. Sound is just so beneficial in so many different ways. Um, yeah, I hope that we
I
can
should invite my dad to a sound bath.
do. Oh my goodness, do. Yeah,
Make it a little date, or he can come to one of mine. I've been enjoying spending just some time with I don't know, I appreciate my parents even more now that I've become one.
yeah,
I'm trying to
absolutely.
like, as much as I can, do, you know, some little fun things here and there
Yeah, yeah.
with them. But talk me through some of the other instruments. So we know about the bowls. We
Okay.
talked a little bit about chimes, but can you talk about some of these other instruments that maybe people have seen or they may not know about? What other instruments other than the bowls you incorporate into sound, and just kind of what each one does or why you use it?
Okay. Oh gosh. So I use gongs. I have two gongs. I have quite a large paste gong, which is a planetary sounding gong that's really wonderful. And I consider myself to be a complete and utter beginner with it. It's like the bowls, it's something that you really have to connect with and learn in a really personal way. I don't think with gongs that there's a right or a wrong way to play them. It's an exploration and a connection between you and the instrument. What else do I use? So I use tuning forks.
Do you use like chimes? Oh, the
Chimes,
forks. Tell me about
yes.
that.
Forks. Forks are really beautiful. You are really able to get into someone's auric field quite closely and work with them. Now, like I mentioned earlier, sound and delving into the worlds of the esoteric and the psychic arts, it's like something that you kind of open the door a little bit and you just want to keep going and learning. And tuning forks for me is something that I would love to get to know more next. They are like their own little entity by themselves, if you like. They are beautiful, really beautiful. I have, I also have chimes, of course. I have koshi chimes. I believe you have the same or very similar. Chimes are just beautiful because they're so delicate, and like crystal bowls, they cleanse the vibe of the room. But more importantly, if used at the end of a sound session, then they help to very gently bring people back up out of that theta brainwave state. So they're slightly awakening, which is really beautiful. What else do I use? Of course, tinctures, which are tiny little Tibetan bells. They are also very often used. Beautiful. I have a harmonium for singing, for chanting.
What is that? I don't even know what that is. What's a harmonium?
It's like a little an air pumped piano, if you wish, an organ. It sounds like an organ.
I'm Googling this.
Yeah, they're very. You've absolutely come across them in yoga classes, 100%.
Okay. Yes, I have seen this before. I just didn't know
what they were called.
The name for it. You have one of these?
I have one of those. I do. So cool. Yeah. What else do I have? I have a hand pan. I have lots of different chimes and different things that make rattly noises, and lots of different things that if I incorporate sound, if I incorporate water, into a meditation, I might get out my ocean drum. Or, just...
I do have an ocean drum. It's fun.
Oh, I love an ocean drum. They're so cool, aren't they? Really beautiful. They sound just like the waves. So it's really lovely to use one of those if we're talking about water. I think...
Oh my gosh, I didn't know you had all of this.
Yeah,
this is amazing.
I do, yeah. But like anything, I want so much more. This is the terrible thing about sound, or the beautiful thing about sound, if you like. There's just always something else that you want to get. But mostly I want to work on my voice. So I am working on using my song, my own true song and voice during a sound session, but I'm finding it really challenging and difficult. But that's...
like just putting yourself out there, like opening up, using your voice, like what's the tricky part about that?
The tricky point is, I guess almost breaking the silence of not using your voice and opening up. And I think the best way to do that is when using crystal bowls and rimming the crystal bowls, then just gently humming. And then as those sounds begin to get, louder and greater, then using my voice. But I am finding that challenging. That's my own little personal journey that I'm on at the moment, is to be able to burst into song, if you like, during a sound session.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Now I'm really cooking up ideas for how I'm going to get to South Wales. I am going to do it. Can you tell us about, so you train people, and again, Sam's the one that taught me how to start weaving sound into what I was doing, but tell us about the trainings that you do.
So I am sharing Charlie from a time with Charlie's trainings. She lives and works abroad. So she is offering sound and energy healing practitioner courses internationally. And I am offering them here in the UK. So from South Wales predominantly. And we share two different levels of sound healing training. So we have principles of sound, which is a level 1, and extended principles of sound and energy, which is a level 2. Yeah, and then we're kind of now beginning to offer other little day workshops in sound massage, or just delving into the essential foundations, which is like a little taster workshop, if you like. But they are hugely transformative practices. I can say that with my own, I can say that from my own heart and soul, because I have been a student on them. So they are wonderful, really, really cool.
That is so amazing. And as we're kind of wrapping up here, I have one
Okay.
question that I did create a little doc for Sam to let her know kind of what I was thinking. I didn't put this one on because I just wanted to get like your just organic take on it.
Okay.
But since I've kind of been calling these conversations like the friendship series, is there anything that you feel compelled to share about friendship or what friendship means to you, or just anything that you're feeling called to share about friendship?
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's really
I know I
big.
put you on this.
Yeah, you've put me on the spot, Kelly. So friendship is huge. It's love. I don't think that I don't think that we talk about that enough. It is love. And I don't have too many close friends. I don't let too many in too often, because I think when you find that core of people who are around you, they are just so special and as important as family, truly. I think we don't talk about how important friendship is. Yeah.
Yeah. That all resonates. And I think friendship is love. Even from a young age, I remember saying, well, a friend
Yeah.
is someone that you love or that you're in love with, but not
Mm,
but like a platonic love. And that's just how it
absolutely.
always felt to me, is like, there are people, I love my friends, I love my family, I love my children, I love my husband, but like they're all kind of different types of love, but it is that
Absolutely.
same level of like, when a really true friend is that same level of like intensity and depth of like true like love that you have for the other special people in your life. So that really
Absolutely.
resonates with
And
me.
when you
Oh,
find
I
those
knew you'd have a
people,
great answer.
oh my gosh, I don't feel like that's a great answer. I really don't. But I think when you find those people, you need to hold them really tight. And like with you, Kelly, I haven't seen you for a couple of years now, and I don't really need to talk to you that often, but I know that you're there, and I know that you know me, and I can come to you with anything and you will answer it knowing me, if that makes
I
sense.
feel the same way.
That makes
It
sense.
does, because I feel the same way about you. And it's one of those things, and hopefully everyone has the experience of having a friend where it's like you don't have to necessarily like catch up with them all the time. It's very
No.
much like quality versus quantity. And it's
Yeah.
like, but we both know, I know this to be true for you, and hopefully you feel the same way about me. But if you ever need me, all you have to do is just say, Kelly, I need you, or Kelly,
Oh, no,
help, or I
I
have this
know.
question. It's like, I will,
Yeah,
I'll drop anything. And I feel the same way about you. And I think it's so
100%.
beautiful to know that like, we don't have to be in that constant contact to know that the other one is there to support and to celebrate you and to just hold space for you, whatever you need,
Yeah.
whenever you need it. And there doesn't need to be any complexity around it, and that we also
No.
then both know that we're living lives, but if
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
anything that's ever needed, that we can do that. And then I just love like checking in every once in a while and getting caught up, and it's something I feel really grateful for.
And those true friendships really celebrate you, really want you to do well, are really, behind you, shouting for you, and just truly wanting the best for you. They are the most special friendships in the world that mean so much.
Yes, I agree so much. And are there anything? So, last thing is, Sam, tell everyone how they can work with you, because I know everyone's listening to this
Oh,
and they're like me and they're trying to like concoct these reasons
no.
to just find themselves in South Wales to go to her peaceful place. But what are the different ways people can work with you and how can they stay connected to you?
Well, the wonderful thing about sound and energy work is that it just works so beautifully online that, it working online on Zoom or on any kind of platform like that just works so well. We don't actually have to be in the same space or the same time zone, actually. Of course, if you're in the UK, you can travel to come and see me. That would be awesome. I have not told anyone this at all. You are the first person, Kelly. But her peaceful place is actually moving online also. So there will be an online community and on-demand sound healing sessions and tarot readings and kind of esoteric stuff, which will be launching next month. So I will keep you in the loop with
Oh my gosh.
all of that. And I
Hey,
need guest
please
people to come
do.
and share their wonderful things. So I will be knocking on your door, Kelly, and asking you to come and share your wonderful things. Online.
Nothing would make me happier. And as soon as you have that online component up and running, I'm going to be the first one signing up for it
Yay!
because that sounds
Amazing.
amazing. And oh, oh my gosh, we got the scoop. I feel so honored. I am thrilled for this new like extension of your business.
Yeah,
That's so cool,
yeah.
Sam.
It's really
And
cool.
how can people connect with you? Like, do you like an Instagram DM, an email? Like, what do you prefer?
Instagram is always my preferred place, but I do not mind how I receive messages. I'm so happy to receive messages from anywhere, from anyone. Obviously, not directly to my phone number, but I won't be giving that out. But anyway, um, Facebook, Instagram. I'm kind of on Threads a little bit. I don't know
Oh,
about you, Kelly. Are you on anything else? Do you use any other social
no,
media?
mostly Instagram. I don't do a lot on Facebook. I just kind of like
No,
share the events and
same.
stuff for the people that do. And then I've dabbled a little bit in TikTok, but I'm still kind of figuring out what I want to do over there.
Mm,
So it's just like a light dabbling. But
same.
I'm later. We'll have to talk about this later. I want to hear about like threads
Okay.
and all of that. That's cool.
Amazing.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
your knowledge and your wisdom and your kindness with all of us. And why don't we give people a little teaser of what they can expect on Sunday in just a couple of days, your guest meditation?
So, if possible, the listener really needs some headphones. You could get yourself
Okay.
ready by diving into bed or finding a comfy spot in your home, somewhere really quiet and relaxing where you won't be disturbed. And you will have a 20 to 30 minute sound healing journey with me. We'll begin with my voice, where I will guide you into somewhere very relaxing. And then I will bathe you in sounds from Tibetan bowls, from crystal bowls, chimes, and then I will leave you there. So you don't have to wake up afterwards. I will just softly leave you there and you can stay there for a deep rest. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. I can't wait. Thank you so much for being here, Sam.
Thank you for having me. It's been so awesome. Thank you, Kelly.
It's been so good. Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye bye.